In the late 1990s, a movement with various labels, among them Agile, Extreme Programming, Pragmatic Programming, Crystal Clear, and Scrum, sprang up to create a new approach to managing software development. The confluence of these innovations, now mostly called Agile, is designed around the people in a project, around flexibility, responsiveness, and other departures from rigid, document-driven, process-centric methods. In February of 2001, 17 practitioners of these various project management approaches met to find a common description of their foundational precepts and to create a document communicating their ideas. At agilemanifesto.org, you will find a manifesto about agility, along with information on the authors and signatories of the manifesto, and a brief history of how they came together to create the manifesto. Here we will present those ideas in their authors' own words. This is the Manifesto for Agile Software Development. Quoted here in its entirety. We are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. Through this work, we have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. That is, while there is value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. This is the whole manifesto. This is the distillation of Agile, especially how Agile values people, their judgment, and responsiveness more than the traditional project management concepts, which value risk reduction and precise estimation, and view project resources as largely interchangeable. This manifesto is about the way Agile departs from, but does not abandon, previous project management practices. This document is frequently referred to as the Agile Manifesto, implying it is about a project management approach called Agile. That's not the title, and it matters. The word Agile refers to agility in the development of software. The title is Manifesto for Agile Software Development. The word Agile in the title has its ordinary meaning. The manifesto is about being lowercase agile in the way you and your colleagues create software. The authors of the Manifesto for Agile Software Development further clarify their ideas through a set of principles quoted here. We follow these principles. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. Working software is the primary measure of progress. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. The Manifesto for Agile Software Development states obviously sensible concepts. Because of these virtues, and because traditional project management is hard to successfully adapt to the nature of many software development projects, Agile is now by far the dominant form of software development project management. Agile is spreading beyond software projects into all domains of project management. This is not all for the good. Not all types of projects are improved by Agile project management. If your task is to build a ship or a skyscraper, using Agile will lead to confusion, uncertainty, lack of foresight, and an increased likelihood of failure. But you do not have to be building skyscrapers to fall victim to Agile overshoot. Misapplied, Agile can be perceived as a bothersome management fad. One purpose for learning the reasons why Agile is needed and why Agile works as it does to discern the places within an organization where Agile is not helpful. When a good tool is misapplied, it is like pounding nails with the flat side of a wrench. It might seem to work at first, but regret happens soon enough. Agile did not arise in a vacuum to replace previous styles of project management in software development. Agile is neither a direct competitor to, nor an augmentation of previous approaches. Agile does not match the approaches that came before it in every feature and capability. Still, there are ways of comparing Agile to what came before. Agile is a reaction to the poor applicability of previous approaches. The principles of Agile software development can be viewed in light of specific failings of those previous approaches. To show how Agile is a response to the inadequacy of previous approaches, the Agile principles are grouped here not in the order they are stated by their authors, but to line them up with the deficiencies to which they respond. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. These principles respond to the fact that it is easy for software development projects to become unmoored from the intentions of the people who decided to launch the project. This happens despite the detailed specifications that are at the core of the waterfall model of software development. Indeed, it happens because revising detailed end-to-end specifications is a huge burden. Then there's the problem of recalculating the schedule impact on the project of such revisions. This often requires extensive replanning of the way resources will be allocated, and, too often, there's not enough time nor the will to maintain the level of planning rigor as there was before projects encounter reality. Agile focuses on maintaining a stream of frequent, visible results that reduce the need for detailed specifications and that maintain agility in setting project goals. Build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. These principles recognize that managers without a background in software implementation find it difficult to plan, manage, and set priorities for software development teams. Teams need to be more self-managing. Waterfall project specifications attempt to squeeze out the uncertainty about what a team will need to do to meet project goals. An obvious flaw in this is that meeting the specifications becomes the goal, whether or not the specifications remain relevant to enterprise goals. If you combine rigid specifications with a rigid schedule, the likelihood that the result meets the underlying needs that drove the creation of a project is sharply reduced. Software development is a series of creative solutions to unique problems. Unless the creativity of the implementers is engaged in implementing a software system, the results are likely to disappoint. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. This is the most aspirational of Agile principles. Previous software development project management approaches often led to crises that demoralized project teams. It would be a good thing not to do that. But Agile is not intrinsically kinder to software developers. In projects that entail creativity, uncertainty, risk, and where solving a long series of unique problems is the essence of a project, pressure to perform will always be high. The Agile approach has no easy answers for this problem. The most common criticism of Agile is that project team members find that work iterations called sprints in the Scrum style of Agile are misapprehended as a call to work faster and do more with less. Sprinting can degenerate into a constant drumbeat to work longer hours. Agile provides no answers other than to say, in this principle, do not make the team members burn out. This is a fine idea, but very few, if any, of the incentives in software development projects are aligned with this principle. In the practice of agility, it is up to team leaders to figure this out. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. The deep meaning of this principle is that when a project is structured to engage the creativity of the implementers in problem solving, and the project gets underway without the detailed specifications of a waterfall-style project plan, project teams have to accommodate changes to project requirements. Ironically, waterfall project planning seldom reduces the need for running changes. It only makes those changes more expensive and cumbersome to incorporate. This Agile principle is an acknowledgement of reality. Working software is the primary measure of progress. This is the simplest, yet most momentous of the Agile principles. The closely related problems of estimating software development task magnitude and measuring partial completion of tasks results in a need to radically simplify how progress is measured. That simplification comes down to, unless there is agreement that it is done and will not need to be revisited, it is not done. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. The Agile principles tell us that continuous attention to technical excellence and good design and simplicity are beneficial to Agile projects. It's also good for non-Agile projects. As with avoiding project team burnout, avoiding bad design, bad code, and needless complexity are motherhoods for which the Agile principles provide encouragement. But the structure of most Agile practice has no inherent properties that support attaining these principles. Agile is more like an ingredients list, not a recipe. Agility is found through domain knowledge, experience, and critical thinking, and a high level of autonomy for the people making the software. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. First, who the heck are those business people? This is just naive. This is the biggest gap in the Agile principles. It says nothing about the crucial relationship of product management to software creation. Those are the important business people. The job title of product owner in some forms of Agile practice makes the product management relationship weaker. These principles are the basis for the Agile practice of daily so-called stand-up meetings and the preference for project teams to work on site. Agile is congenial to in-house project teams, but it is an undeniable advantage to have in-house coders. But now you also have so many excellent communications tools to choose from that if you can't run an efficient distributed team, it's not because the Agile principles told you not to. It is not always, or even very often, possible to bring on board every team member as a full-time employee. The majority of software development projects, especially those pursued by organizations that are not themselves software vendors, rely on contracted coders and on consultants. There are risks in outsourcing and distributed remote teams, but in the decades since these principles were formulated, communications tools and software development tools have vastly improved. The software repository Git, for example, was created to organize code contributions from a vast, loosely connected network of Linux kernel developers. Git, by itself, has changed the way software is made. The practicality is that you are better served by knowing the risks associated with outside implementation resources and how to mitigate those risks, than to delay commencing a project for lack of in-house resources. Although Agile is a reaction to the frequent failure of waterfall project planning, one can readily see that the most common forms of Agile practice do not provide solutions for all the problems that the principles of Agile are meant to address. Some of the principles can be put into practice without any elaboration, such as the crystal clear advice on how to measure progress. Working software is the primary measure of progress. This one principle is what most distinguishes well-executed Agile project management from what came before. Throughout this journey into project management knowledge, you will find that recalling this principle explains why divergence from the simplicity of the Manifesto for Agile Software Development often does not improve the practice of Agile. Other Agile principles stop short of providing answers. They just point to problems. This principle amounts to a mere exhortation. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Cool story, bro. The Agile principles do not actually say how to prevent project team burnout and, quote, maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Would it be surprising to find that Agile sometimes becomes an instrument of burnout? The most obvious next step to addressing the incompleteness of Agile would be to enhance Agile. There are numerous forms of extended Agile. Some, like the Scaled Agile Framework, or SAFe, are extended to the point that they encompass all of enterprise project planning and management. Many software developers find themselves in work environments that practice Agile this way. If you don't, you are fortunate. You can treat attempts to enhance Agile with caution. Take a fundamentals-oriented approach to understanding Agile and how to apply it. Understand how prior forms of project management and planning work. They worked really well for a wide range of projects other than software development projects. Those projects don't need Agile and often suffer from attempts to make everything Agile. Understand the underlying reasons why software development differs from most other kinds of projects and most other kinds of business activities. Look at the areas of project management where Agile does not provide all the answers. Successful project managers understand how software development fits into the structure of a business. Success doesn't require restructuring business operations around an extended form of Agile. In other words, Agile should not be allowed to become a management fad that permeates the whole organization. Agile is a tool with specific uses. It's hard enough getting Agile right without overreaching. There's an enormous payoff to the kind of in-depth understanding. Most enterprises, even if they adopt enterprise-oriented extensions of Agile as their project management framework, do not access all the benefits of the fundamentals of Agile. Traditional forms of project management rely heavily on being able to predict task duration based on a track record of, for example, wiring and plumbing comparable floor plans in a building project. There's no such measuring rod for a series of unique tasks, and the greatest value in software development is in the unique tasks. Project managers cannot look at a software system the way they can look at a partly built building and count the floors that have been framed, wired, plumbed, etc. The problems of measurement and estimation are by themselves showstoppers for being able to use traditional project management approaches. In software development projects, they are not the only problems. Agile acknowledges that the only useful criteria of completion is a visible result that obviously meets the description of a task where there's consensus that the task is in fact complete. The only accurate measure of the duration of a task is retrospective. Most problems with Agile result from trying to deny these realities. If an organization makes measurement and estimation more complex than absolutely necessary, they just increase the risk of failure. This also creates small failures along the way. Every time the focus becomes trying to get more accurate estimation, instead of asking, "Is this the best implementation of our intent?" the project loses a bit of quality and alignment with the enterprise's goals. These failures add up to an outcome that everybody thought they wanted at one time, but hardly anyone thinks is a great implementation that serves a valuable purpose. They're just glad it's over. Some Agile innovations are more important than others. The way tasks are collaboratively distributed among team members in a project is one of the core advantages of Agile. There are further gains to be had. You will find that Agile has more potential for revolutionizing software creation than can be realized if project management is confined to formulaic Agile practice. The purpose of this material is to unlock that potential. That is why the fundamentals of Agile, in the words of the people who first formulated Agile, are so important, and yet they can't be taken uncritically. Another challenge to extracting the most benefit from Agile is in keeping software creation projects relevant to strategic business goals. Later on, we will examine how to do this by linking significant milestones in a project to senior management decision-making. That is just one example of how in-depth knowledge of Agile unlocks capabilities seldom discussed in most Agile training. Agile was created by and for software developers. Agile worked best before anyone outside of groups of coders and project managers with the freedom to set their own agendas had heard of it. Since then, Agile is, in part, a victim of its own success. It is so obvious that Agile is superior to waterfall project management that nearly every new software project adopts it, even if the participants don't understand it, aren't ready for it, or are culturally hostile toward Agile. If you are not Agile, you are not cool. Business writing is full of jargon, words created to make a thing seem scientific, or at least systematic. Agile has attracted more than its fair share. Here we make do with a minimum of jargon. For example, product managers will be called product managers, not product owners. Scrums are meetings. Stand-ups and the parking lot are also meetings. Meetings should have a point other than ceremony, which is not to be stood upon. Story points are scheduling estimates. Scheduling estimates should be denominated in hours or days, and so on. This is important. For example, a product manager often plays a crucial role in integrating enterprise goals with product development. In many organizations, product owner does not have the same clout. Too often, the role of product owner degenerates to that of a feature list accountant. Excellence in product management is key to success in creating enterprise value in software. If you've not been exposed to Agile jargon yet, you inevitably will be. Notice, however, that the Manifesto for Agile Software Development, and all of our discussion of it, contains no Agile jargon, except to point out how deleterious that jargon is. If the authors of that manifesto and the associated principles could do without jargon, so can you. Nor is familiarity with earlier project management jargon required. The key concepts in the systems analysis style of project management that preceded Agile will be explained, and the explanations avoid jargon to the greatest extent possible. Foundational knowledge of the key concepts will serve you better, as will the ability to communicate in plain language. You will know why Agile exists and why it is good. You will know when to be skeptical and when to insist on discipline in enforcing good practices. You will be ready for the evolution of Agile in your organization, and, because progress in project management doesn't end with Agile, for what may come after.